Welcome back to Matty's Nibbles. We're gonna make some beef jerky today. Beef jerky is one of my favorite snacks ever. Never made it. Been studying a little bit from YouTube creators making beef jerky, and I'm gonna give it a go. Again, so just watch, having a bit of fun. Hopefully it turns out. It's gonna be a 2-day cook. I'll cut and marinate tonight or today, and then tomorrow throw it in the barbecue because it's quite a long cooking process. So we'll start with some lean beef. I've got some topside today, more than I need. I'm going to cook about 1.5 kilos of topside in this cook. I believe the trick with beef jerky is to cut it with the grain. So this piece is probably a bit thick. I'll just butterfly it to start with. Well, not butterfly it, but just slice it in half. Most of the cooks that I've seen do this, they've frozen their beef first. That way it's a bit easier to cut. I think if you've got a nice sharp knife, it cuts pretty easily anyway. The grain runs down this way, so sometimes it's hard to tell when you look at the outside of the cut of meat. I'll actually trim a bit of this fat off first. Beef jerky generally doesn't have a lot of fat. There is a South African style beef jerky, they call it biltong, and they keep quite a bit of fat and even a little bit more moisture than beef jerky. I want to make these maybe 2 centimeters thick is going to be my guess. If I fail, I'll try again another day. As we cut a slice off, you can barely see the grain because the grain will be running up and down. You know what I might do, because I've never done it, I might do a few thin bits and a few thicker bits and see which one works out the best for next time. Fuck, I love the smell of raw beef. I don't know if it's because I like the smell of it or because I know the potential that beef has. So the grain starts to differ a little bit and I'll just adjust with it. Best thing about cutting the fat off things is when you have little puppies and you drop it and they know what it is. Again, I've told you guys I'm not very measured. I cook by feel, but I will try and work out what my measurements are to put them in like a description. Beef jerky is actually really expensive to buy in Australia. I think for like 25 grams we pay about $6 Australian, and that's not even for like really good quality stuff. If you guys cook at home and you don't have training and all of that kind of jargon, do yourself a favor, go buy a sharp knife. Doesn't matter if it's a chef knife, a cleaver, east-west, boning, it doesn't matter. Just go buy yourself a good knife. Keep it sharp. A sharp knife, this has got meat on it, it might not work, but it should be able to just slice through the paper without any effort. When I was an apprentice, a chef taught me about how to see if your knife's sharp, and when I was young and gullible is not the word, because I believe this chef believed what he was thinking, but he used to sharpen his knife and then he used to shave the hair off his arm. And I thought, that's pretty cool. And then I'm a little bit older and a little bit more hygiene conscious and thought, you know what, that's fucking filthy. There are some filthy fucking chefs out there. So I've got the beef all cut and ready. It's all different shapes and sizes, but it's all about 1 centimeter to just over 1 centimeter thick. Now for the marinade. I'm again making this up as I go. It seems I've picked too small of a bowl, but a trick that I've learned since home cooking, not a lot of commercial kitchens I ever worked in did this, is use these resealable bags. That way you don't have to worry about stirring it and making a mess. You just pop all your shit in the bag, all your marinade stuff in the bag, seal it with a bit of air, give it a shake, happy days. Living my best life. Gonna go in a little bit of an Asian flavor. Gonna start with 2 cups of soy. It's a lot of soy, but it's a lot of beef, and marinade's always, and I broke the fucking seal. I have to cut the fucking thing out and hope I don't drop it in the sauce. I like it when it works. Let's go around 250 mils. No, I want more than that. You know what, I want about 2 cups. What's this? That's 500 mil. 2 cups is 500 mil. So let's just empty the bottle. It's a lot of soy sauce. That is so much fucking soy sauce. That smell is overwhelming. You know what? I'm gonna stay safe. I don't want that to fall over on me. That would be fucking tragic. Brown sugar, about 1/2 cup brown sugar. What I do, 2 cups soy. We'll go about 1 cup pineapple. So that almost evens the sweet and the sour, or the sweet and the salty. Probably a tablespoon hoisin sauce. I love garlic. Who doesn't love garlic? Let's go about that much, maybe a tablespoon. What I will measure, because I don't want to over pour it, is the rice wine vinegar. I only want maybe 2 teaspoons of rice wine vinegar. I don't really want to taste it. Sriracha. This This was a godsend. Whoever made sriracha, it's probably been around for hundreds of years. Whoever brought it to Australia and made it readily available, I love you. Again, it's chili, so to your discretion. If you like it hot, put a bit more. If you don't like it hot, you can probably even go without it. I'm gonna go about a tablespoon worth. Onion powder, I find onion powder is really good in anything that's like low and slow. So I'm gonna go about a tablespoon onion powder. And for the last ingredient, chili flakes. I like a little bit spicy, so I'll probably go 20 shakes, maybe more, because it's not coming out very fast. That's probably not enough. I want to take this lid off. I've almost used nothing. Free pour it, maybe a teaspoon and a half of chili in there. The fun bit and the dangerous bit, if you are working with something this heavy, buy the double seal bag. We want to keep the air in here, make sure it's sealed. And the fun, oh, listen to that. So just make sure it all gets in there, break up all the beef. Once you think you mix the sauce in, let a little bit of air out. The way you let a little bit out is because now you can actually handle the meat and make sure there's no bits that are stuck together. And then that's good for marinating. We'll marinate that. I suppose you could marinate it for an hour. It's quite a runny sauce, it'll be all right. I'm actually going to marinate it for probably about 8 hours before I put it on the barbecue in the morning. Wish it luck. I'll see you in the morning. Good morning. Meat's been marinating overnight. Just going to turn the barbecue on now. Obviously not everyone's going to have these. You can do it in your conventional oven. Basically use liquid smoke in your marinade and just turn your oven to a reasonably low temperature, really low temperature. You don't want to cook it, you just want to dehydrate it. Traeger grill, it is my favorite toy, has been for about 6 months, so I cook everything on it. Turning it on, power on, turn it to smoke. Basically it'll churn through some pellets, it'll create a little bit of a spark in there with the element, and then it'll start heating up. You know when the fires hit the pit because it'll make a fire noise. Turns out it's really awkward light here in the morning. This is not where my barbecue normally sits, but for you guys to see it, it had to. Pulled the meat out of the fridge maybe 2 hours ago, just because I didn't want it to be so cold when it goes in the barbecue. I've set up a strainer here in the pot, so I'll just tip it out because when you put it on, you want it to be as dry as possible. All I'm going to do is now try and dry this out. So just laying it on paper towel. This will have to be done in a couple of batches. And just remember, I said I've never done this before. If I'm doing something wrong, I don't care. If it tastes good, I've done it right. After a layer's done, just pop some paper towel on, give it a squish. It's going to need another sheet. Working out very quickly, this is going to take a lot of paper towel. As you can see, we're starting to smoke. Beef naturally has a lot of moisture in it. The reason we don't wipe it, we just dab it, is because we still want those chili flakes to be visible and we don't want them to come off. So you can hear that roar. The roar is obviously the fire. I'm not worried about preheating this because it's going to be a really, really low temperature anyway. One thing I do want to talk about with barbecues is look after it. If you don't look after it, you're not going to get the quality food that you want. Just going to give the second layer another pat, make sure it's all dry. With this style of barbecue, you will not have to turn these at all. The heat distributes very, very evenly. Cooking temperature in an oven, try and get it as close to, I suppose, 67 degrees Celsius as possible. With this barbecue, I'll obviously use the lowest temperature there is, which I think is around 68 to 70 degrees. You don't want your meat overlapping. Touching a little bit is fine because it's going to shrink enough that it's not going to matter anyway. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my beef jerky to be cooked. So we'll just close this. I'll come back and check it in maybe 3 or 4 hours. I've just realized I forgot to talk about what the Traeger grill actually does. So in this little compartment here, it's called the hopper. This is where the pellets go. I suppose they're just broken down hardwood and then they make them into these little pellets so they feed through the hopper. Feeds into the grill. Today I'm using mesquite. It's like a mild smoke, mild to medium smoke. Could have gone like a hickory, which is a stronger smoke, but I think the mesquite is really going to work against this Asian inspired flavor. Here we are after about 3 hours. I'm just going to check to make sure the heat's been evenly distributed, check how dehydrated it is, and we'll see how we go. Doing everything it's supposed to really well. But you can see through the back here, all around the edges, it looks a little bit more done than what's in the middle. So just to see if there's moisture left in it, I mean, I can see there's still moisture, a little bit of fat pouring bits out, but if we give it a bend, we'll see how easily it breaks, and you can see the inside of the meat as to whether there's moisture in it or not. This is 3 hours. I dare say it's probably going to need another 2 or 3. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate these around the barbecue and try and get the wetter pieces to the outside where it looks like it's cooking a bit more. Probably even just turn them over because why not? I'm here anyway. Here we are, going to do a last check to make sure it's all done. I dare say it will. We checked it a couple of hours ago. It should be done by now. We are in now 5.5 hours of cooking. Bit of a pull. Oh, she looks nice and dry to me. So you still want it to be able to bend, but you want to start seeing it break a little bit. I'm just going to say this is done, take it off. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. That's perfect, just pulls apart. I love it. Lots of little bits have fallen down the grill, but that's okay. I'll put some foil down so I could catch it easier. I actually thought this could happen. Just to take the grill out, get the last few pieces. This is not something I even want to waste a gram of. All right, the finished product. I am stoked with how good this looks. It's, anyway, I literally have no words. This is amazing. In hindsight, the thicker pieces probably could have done with a little bit longer in there, but I'll just make sure they're the first ones eaten. I should give this a taste, shouldn't I? Oh, it's perfectly dry. Oh shit. That is probably, no. That is definitely the best jerky I've ever had. So, for the fun name I'm going to name this one, let's just say, well, it's dehydrated beef, so the cow doesn't need to pee. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and I really hope to see you next time. Thank you.